Ladies and gentlemen, I'm abiding by YouTube policies, and if there's a reviewer for this segment at YouTube, the Daily Mail article is below in the description. I am reporting on the news, and I'm simply giving my evaluation as an American citizen who believes in the Bill of Rights in our country. Okay, so I'll read you. Facebook removes page promoting Freedom Convoy in D.C. after GoFundMe started returning $8 million in donations for Canada protests. Fears donation site run by CEO, has sided with Trudeau. Again, abiding by YouTube policies. I want to say, first and foremost, God bless the truckers in Canada and the U.S. and around the world. Without you, capitalism doesn't work, commerce doesn't work, business doesn't work, nobody gets paid, nobody gets to eat food, buy clothing. You are the engine. You're an important part of the economic engine that makes life function and run for society. And I don't think that people like Justin Trudeau or our president here understand how important truckers are. I do. And I want to say, God bless you. Stay safe. And you are doing something peacefully in terms of a peaceful demonstration that future generations will remember. I think that whatever side you're on when it comes to the issues that are being protested, nobody can deny that these people are engaging in peaceful behavior. Now, media is going to find one or two people that have done a bad thing and then paint the entire movement as a horrible thing. That's what media does, okay? Media ignores. There was a CNN journalist with a building set ablaze behind him 2 years ago, and he still said fiery but peaceful. Media will side with the Democratic Party or liberals in Canada or anywhere else. Justin Trudeau, for example, in his past, did things that should have ruined his political career already. Of course, that was forgiven because he's a good, wonderful, morally superior liberal or left-leaning politician. Same thing here, okay? Whoopi Goldberg is not fired, she's suspended. The Democratic Party in our country, media, has one set of standards for one political side, another set of standards for another political side. Now we get to Facebook. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Hit subscribe to the stock market crash channel below. Everything that I wrote about in the Federalist last year is taking place. I predicted the stock market crash that we're seeing in slow motion. Unemployment actually went up. The unemployment rate went up. So oil is over $90 per barrel. Commodities are at all-time highs. We can go on forever. There's still $1 trillion in margin debt. We are seeing the beginning of a major stock market crash. We're going into a recession. This is the fault of people who ended economic activity 2 years ago, the morally superior and highly educated among us, who said we had to end economic activity, and then they're obsessed over the same topic or the same reason that they ended economic activity 2 years ago. I'm speaking in roundabout terms, but okay. So hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, The Daily Caller, other publications. Go to hagoodman.com. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the channel, I used to be, before I became a supporter of President Trump, because I like record low unemployment, record low Black and Latino unemployment, a reversal of U.S. foreign policy, which Biden completely botched. The Doha Agreement called for Americans to leave on May 1st, 2021. Of course, we know from newly released documents from Axios the other day that Biden had no plan, absolutely no plan. And 13 Americans lost their lives directly because of him. And 100 plus Afghans lost their lives directly because of him. I've talked about that endlessly. He did not have a plan. He used our adversaries to help with security around the only airport he left open. Anyway, that's just a long list. We have Russia, Ukraine, a long list of endless problems with this administration. Ask yourself, if you're a left-leaning person watching this channel. I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. One thing that I respected on the left when I was on the left, and it's a double-edged sword, because what the truckers are doing right now is the epitome. It's the spirit. It's exactly what the quote-unquote working class, left-leaning, or, workers, labor rights, the ideology that wants to help working class people that is so prevalent on the left. Canadian truckers and truckers in the U.S., that's exactly what they stand for. Very few people work harder than truckers that have to go 10, 12 hours without sleep, or 15, 16, 17 hours without sleep on the roads, making sure commerce works, making sure you can go to work and eat at the end of the day and buy clothing. And okay, so you would think that the same Democrats who care about unions, who care about workers, who care about the poor, who care about the working class. Of course, inflation is at an all-time high. That's a tax for the poor. But anyway, that's because we ended economic activity, and the inflation, $10 trillion into the economy, caused the inflation to spiral up. That's a tax on the poor. But you would think that the anti-authoritarians, the people who oppose Trump because he's so cruel, you would think that they would support the truckers in Canada. You would think the people who didn't like Trump's authoritarian nature, and you couldn't find the antithesis of an authoritarian. The man was set up and framed by his own intelligence agencies. He single-handedly reversed Lincoln Project foreign policy, okay, and Bush administration foreign policy, and he allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever. And we had record low black and Latino unemployment. And he signed the Doha Agreement to reverse U.S. foreign policy, like I said, and the Abraham Accords, and a whole bunch of things. Usually authoritarians want military interventions, which is what Biden is doing right now, sending Americans to Europe for what purpose? Russia has more nuclear weapons than we do. We learned mutually assured destruction in the Cold War, but getting back to the truckers, Facebook and GoFundMe have no business banning the Facebook page of truckers or the donations given to these individuals. Why? You can't always side with one political side if you're GoFundMe or Facebook, because you benefit legally and from numerous laws by pretending to be a neutral platform. So you can't go ahead they're going to do what they want to do, but they're siding with one political side all the time. GoFundMe does this routinely. And it's not fair. And very rarely or never will they go and freeze the account of a left-leaning activist. Very rarely. Because they know the media coverage will be swift and without mercy. But if it's any type of activity that's linked possibly to a conservative cause, oh my God, it's a problem. And then Facebook is probably even worse. But it's not going to work because you can't silence speech. Growing up in the 90s, okay, late 80s, 2 Live Crew, okay, banned in the USA, listen to the album, okay. If you ban or try to suppress an idea or a dialogue or debate or discussion or the sentiments and feelings of half of Canada, of half of the U.S., half of Canada and half of the U.S. disagree with all of media. And that half of each country out there, and it's half. Don't deceive yourself, morally superior liberal Democrat. It's half, more than half probably. If you didn't have every single possible advantage from Jimmy Kimmel, Trevor Noah, Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers, The Washington Post, The New York Times, MSNBC, CNN, BuzzFeed, The Daily Beast, Esquire, Vanity Fair, New York Magazine, New Yorker, The Atlantic, oh my God, The Atlantic fabricating quotes about Trump, Mother Jones, The Nation. It's the Los Angeles Times. It's a public relations monstrosity. Social media algorithms, GoFundMe, Facebook, Twitter. Twitter is like, so they have every single possible advantage, and it's still half the country in the U.S. and half the country in Canada. And you can say, well, opinion polls show. Opinion polls are taken right after an onslaught of media coverage focusing on one political viewpoint, and that's it. Imagine if media took no political side. Anyway, God bless you. God bless you. Stay safe. I support you. You have to understand how important you are to so many people. You have to understand how important you are. And stay safe. Always remember, media, or those who would want your viewpoint or movement to end, we'll focus, let's just put it this way, we'll focus on any negative. Try to be as pristine as possible. I know you're only human. Try to be as safe and peaceful and as pristine as possible. Because what they do, what your political opposition will do is they'll ignore their own sins. They'll focus and pinpoint on the sins of one or two or three people within this movement, and then they'll unleash the propaganda. So just be safe. God bless you. And most of this country, most of the United States loves you. Thank you so very much. Hit subscribe.